Hi, welcome back. My name is Narisara, and we're going to work through Fundamentals Basics Part 2. So, in the first part, we went over sun salutations, we went over Warrior 1, Warrior 2, we went over some back bending and twisting here. And if you want to warm up a little bit more, go ahead and do that one first. Otherwise, we're going to go straight into some standing postures for the second one, okay? So, come over here and come back to the mat, and let's start off in child's pose. Now, in child's pose, this is a nice way to start out where you want to come to your hands and knees, bring your big toes to touch, your knees come wide, bring your bum back towards your heels. Now, if that's not comfortable, some people have the hips only come back this far. That's fine too, but try to press the bums back. Let your arms come forward. There's some space between your knees, and then your body comes forward through the center, and let your head release down. Now, just take a moment here to breathe. And this is a nice way to just get centered, right? Get grounded. Now, you're breathing more into the back of the lungs and the back of the heart, and then you're going to exhale all the way out. And then make your way upright. You're going to bring your hands underneath and make your way up to stand, okay? So when you're standing, let's play a little bit with some poses that'll be facing the long side of your mat. So I'm going to have my feet probably about wrist width apart, right? So pretty wide here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my right toes out and then turn my back toes in, right? So we'll work on triangle. So the first move of triangle is actually shifting the hips. And you might want to play with your hips shifting side to side, right? There's an actual movement of the hips shifting like this, as opposed to crunching the ribs together. This is the side bending, and this is pretty much not what you want to have happen. You don't want to have this shortening of the rib cage. You actually want the hips to be tilted so that the back hip is a little higher than the front hip. So bring your hands to your hips, tilt over so that the shoulders and the hips remain like a rectangle, and you can just extend your arms out. Okay. And then you're going to press through your feet. Inhale, rise up to stand, and then lower your arms down. Okay. Turn your right toes in, turn your left toes out, and then turn your back foot just in a little bit more. Let's play with that first. So bring your hands to your hips, and then you're going to let that left hip come back. This hip is high. The back hip is higher. Yeah. Feel like your muscles are hugging the bones here. And then expand your arms outward. Okay? You're breathing with that. And then you're going to inhale, press through your feet to lift up. Exhale, lower down. Let's try that one more time. Turn your left toes in, turn your right toes out. Now this time bring your arms out to the T. This is the more traditional way of doing it. Yeah. Look toward your hand and then reach your ribs out. Cut the hips back and let your hand softly fall onto the leg. Right, and that top arm is stretching up toward the ceiling. Make sure it's not over yet. Yeah. So you're making one line of energy from the top hand all the way through to the bottom hand. And you have a little lift in the core here. You're going to press through your feet and inhale, rise up to stand. And then lower your arms down. Let's turn the right toes in, turn the left toes out. Lift up, so you're lifted, you're opening. And then let the hips start first, then the ribs, reach that armpit out, and then let the hand softly fall. Triangle, Trikonasana. Triangles in the legs, triangles with the whole body, triangles with the arms. Breathing here. And then inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, lower your arms. Okay? Turn your feet parallel, and then widen your feet a little bit more. Okay? Then from here, make sure that your feet are parallel and bring your hands to your hips. You're going to inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your heart up. Exhale, fold forward. Now, This is a lot of back strength. This is a lot on the hamstrings. If you need to bend your knees, I'm okay with that, right? And your hands might come down, right? You might need to have your knees bent. Your hands might need to touch something like yoga blocks or the floor, and then let your head drop. Can your belly fly in and up so the belly button isn't sinking down, but it's pulling up to the sky? And then you might even have the weight more into the toes. To come out of this pose, you're going to bring your hands to your hips and take an exhale and slowly come to that flat back. Bend your knees if you need to and come all the way back up, right? Whew, that was wide-legged straddle, right? Okay. Let's keep moving with our standing postures, right? These build strength in the legs, a little vibrancy. So I'm going to turn my right toes out, and the back foot's going to be at a 90-degree angle. And this is a wide stance, right? This is wider than triangle pose. Bend your right knee so that the knee is coming over the big toe, maybe between the first and second big toe. And you're coming back out into that warrior two again. Now we're coming into side angle. So bring your forearm onto the thigh and top arm up toward the ceiling. Yeah. And some people might not have so much of a bend. Some people can get a greater bend in that. This is called side angle, Parajottanasana, right? This is the first step here. That bottom hand is serving a tray of lemonade. Come back into warrior two. And then this time, inhale, straighten your leg. Parallel your feet. Reach your arms all the way up. And we're going to take warrior two on the other side. So turn your toes out, your other toes out. Bend your knee, or knee. And the arms come out. Virabhadrasana two, warrior two. From warrior two, bend the elbow. Bring the forearm onto the thigh. And the top arm up toward the ceiling, right? Good. You're breathing here. The palm might turn and face the front. Yeah. So you're again, when you say turn, turning from the upper arm bones, breathing here. And we're going to come back into warrior two. Inhale, straighten the leg. Turn your feet parallel. Now make sure your feet are really nice and parallel here. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll do a little arm variations. Take your hands and you can either cross them behind or you can interlace the fingers behind your low back. Shoulders back and down. Inhale to lift up, and exhale, we're going to fold forward. Now, some of you might need to release your hands. That's okay. You might need to bend your knees. That's okay too. And we're breathing here. Again, draw the belly in and up. Weight into the toes. This should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, make some adjustments so it does feel good. You're going to press down through your feet and inhale, rise all the way up to stand. And release here. Okay. Then heel toe your feet closer together. Okay. All right. So I did a lot of strengthening of the legs here. Let's work a little bit on balance pose. All right. So we did warrior one and warrior two. Let's learn warrior three. In warrior three, you're going to come to stand super tall, super tall. And then from here, I'm just going to bring my arms out to the side like an airplane pose in the final version, okay? That'll help you with balance. Look straight forward, and that's called your drishti, your gaze. And when you look, make sure you're not hardening. You're not hardening the eye muscles, that you can still see things. There's still focus, but let the color and the light and the shape come to you. Don't try to strain your eye muscles to try to have more focus. You're going to shift your weight into the left foot and you're going to sweep your right leg back. And so maybe you can keep your hands to your hips and you're right here. You're kind of tipping forward, all right? Maybe this is enough here. Or you can start to tip forward and you want your arms out into a T. Oh, you might fall down like I just did. Yeah. Or you might come back up, right? So can you flex your back foot? Can you lift up in your core? And then maybe your leg can make a sort of a 90-degree shape here. You're going to make your way back up to stand. And then just relax for a moment, all right? If you just shake the standing foot out, shake some things out, that's fine, okay? All right, come to stand nice and tall for a moment. Arms out to the side. Yeah, just so you got a little bit of balance there. Now bring your hands to your hips. Let your gaze be forward. Don't look down, otherwise you'll fall down. Shift the weight into the right foot. Sweep your left leg back. Maybe you're here. That could be enough. Or you start to tip body forward. One long line of energy from the crown of the head, the spine to the heel. And maybe the arms come out to the side and you're breathing here. Good. Good. Building bone density. It's great for all your footwork. And then you're going to just make your way back up to stand. And then just relax for a moment. You can shake the leg out, wiggle something out. All right. Okay, let's do another balance pose today. So let's do tree pose. The same thing with the eyes. You're going to find something to look at. I know it's hard if you're looking at a blank wall, right? And this time you're going to bring the hands into prayer in front of the heart. As the palms press together forward, make sure that there's a brightness of the chest. You could even squeeze the shoulder blades gently onto the back. Let's shift the weight into the left foot. Pick up your right knee forward. From your hip joint, bring the knee out to the side. Now your foot can either be low, like around the ankle. It could be on the shin. Some of you might have to take your right hand to your knee to bring it above your knee joint. Pressing the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot. Lift up in your core, lift up in your heart, and feel the gaze. Yeah, just sort of softly focus. Some of you might just stay here in tree pose. If you want your tree to grow, you can bring the arms upward in a letter V shape. Good. See if you can breathe softly in and out through your nose. The hands are relaxed. And then you're going to bring your hands back into prayer. And then bring the knee forward. Get taller as you release down. And then you can shake the legs out and breathe here. All right. And then zip the hands together. Let yourself focus. Shift the weight into the right foot. Pick up the left knee. And then rotate it. Sole of the foot either ankle, shin, or above the knee joint. And the knee is where we do not want to place the foot, right? That's a kind of a place where it's a little bit vulnerable. So either below or above the knee joint. Lifted, but relaxed in the face. And make sure you're not sitting into the hip, that there's a little bit of scooping and lifting in the glute of the standing leg, the bum of the standing leg. If you wanted your tree to grow, you could. If you fall, that's okay, right? You can always get back up again and try again. This is so good for maintaining your balance in life. And then bring the hands back into prayer in front of the heart. Bring the knee forward and release down. And then you can shake the legs out. You can relax a bit here. Okay. And then let's make our way down to the floor and we'll do some hip releases again. And when you're on the floor this time, let's go ahead and play with something called pigeon pose. So in pigeon pose, this is something that's often given in a yoga class, and I'll show you an alternative variation if you've got tight hips, tight knees, okay? So let's start out with that, but from downward facing dog, this is what's going to happen. You're going to work with the right leg as it lifts up a few inches and bring your right knee forward. Now, with pigeon pose, there's a lot of different things that go on. I've seen people just keep the shin and the knee here, trying to sit the hip back. If you can take the right foot and bring it more, see how it's coming more parallel to the front edge, right? And if your right bum doesn't come onto the mat, sometimes if you have a blanket or a prop underneath, the intention is to stretch out your right glute, right? The underside, the very personal side, yeah. You might even take a look behind and make sure that that left leg isn't flailing out to the side, but rather more directly behind you. And some people are more upright. You might come forward a little bit. You might be on the forearms. You might be all the way down, right? So there's a lot going on in this pose here. You might have some support. I'm just going to use my hands to support my head. You might be further down or up. And a steady and soft breath is your friend, letting your shoulders relax, your neck relax, your eyes relax. And the key to all these openings, right, is to just imagine these places letting go of stress and tension, lengthening. And not trying to force the body to change. Okay, and then you're going to make your way back upright and then back into a downward facing dog. Okay. All right, and so let's do the other side with pigeon pose. Left knee forward, taking your time. So maybe you're here, maybe you can start to wiggle that foot forward. You're stretching that hip back, making sure the back leg is behind you here. Yeah, and I've definitely got one side tighter than the other. And you're breathing in and exhale, start to fold. And just take your time here. Woo! All right, and this is so good for sciatica. This is so good in case you sit a lot or you're doing spinning, running, a lot of other cardio. And just a chance to breathe here, right? Oh yeah, so again, if this isn't good for you, you can lie on your back and do that number 4 position, right? I'll show that in just another moment or so. And deepen your breathing. And you're going to make your way upright and then back into downward facing dog. Okay. And then drop your knees to the floor, shins to the floor. Come to lie on your back for a moment. And with this one, so remember, if pigeon pose was not possible for you, you could lie onto your back and bring your right knee in, externally rotate, bring the right ankle over the left thigh. So the basic thing is don't curl your butt underneath in order to bring the knee in, because all that's doing is just creating a curl in your low back, right? Try to let your bum tilt back so you've got some space underneath. You pass a hand underneath so that the right butt is being opened up here, right? You can just bring the hand to the thigh. You could hold on to the back of the thigh or top of the shin. You can use a strap underneath. If you've got like a strap or a belt, you can put that underneath. I even like to bring the left leg up a bit. And this is a nice alternative for you here. And then we can go ahead and release that. So let's do the other side. Left knee in, externally rotate. Press that out. And again, try not to flatten your back out so that when you bring the knee into the chest, you're actually tilting the pelvis back here, so you've still got that lumbar curve. Or if you wanted to straighten the bottom leg, the right leg, you could do that. It might not straighten all the way. And you'll breathe here, and you're going to unwind out of this here. Okay. All right, from here, let's play with another twist. So with this one, bend your knees, place your feet onto the floor, cross your right thigh over your left thigh. See how the thighs are touching and the knees are stacked? Now pick up your knees so that they're more into the chest. And this is a deeper twist, okay? You're gonna breathe here and exhale. Bring your knees over to the left side, the right leg on top. And if that right shoulder pops up a bit, try to bring it back a little bit so that you're not totally in the air. You can even have your feet touching the floor. There is a lot going on in the side of the body through the hips. This is a little more intense in this cross-legged twist as you're breathing here. And then you're going to unwind your legs, take an inhale back to center, place your feet onto the floor. Cross your left thigh over the right. Bring the knees into the chest, breathe in, and exhale, bring your knees over. And let your feet touch down. And you can always put like a prop underneath your knees if you need to, or your hand, if that feels better, or you can let that go. And then try to get your left shoulder, your left chest area to be opening up here. And then you can unwind your legs and take an inhale back to center. Release, okay? All right, we'll do one more stretch. So go ahead and roll over onto your side. And we'll do a little dragon or lizard pose. So step your right foot forward. Yeah, you're in a kneeling shape. Both hands on the inside of the right foot. Some people are here. Some people can start to hinge forward a bit. Some people, you want to tuck the back toes under, straighten the back leg. Ooh, a lot going on here. All right, you could be here. Now, if you have yoga blocks, or you can bring your forearms down. And if you put your back knee down, we'll give yourself a quad stretch, right? So you could just be here. You can bend the back knee. Some people might be able to bring the hand to the foot and give yourself a quad stretch this way. And then make your way back onto hands and knees. And then we'll do the other side. We'll step the left foot forward into dragon or lizard pose. Maybe you send it more forward. Maybe tuck the back toes under, lift the back leg. Or if you wanted to bring the forearms down to blocks or the floor, and you can breathe here. Or if you drop the back knee down and give yourself a little bit of a quad stretch, you could do that. And then make your way back. Let's just take a little brief downward facing dog. Come to child's pose again. And breathe here. And make your way up to sit. And just take a moment here. You can sit any way that you'd like. And thank you very much. So again, my name is Narisara. Thanks for joining me today for Fundamentals for Basic Part 2. And we'll be back with Part 3 where we'll do more. We'll do more with back bends, more with some hamstring openings. See you soon.